Hi. Today we are going to consolidate the sutras for one of the most powerful operations of the grammar, in my eyes, namely deletion. We have touched on these four sutras in the past, but we're going to pull them together again now because the next two new sutras are crucial steps. So we're going to start with the two new sutras and then integrate the two sutras in the past that complete this process. So the new sutra, the first new sutra for today is Halantyam. Halantyam. This is not complicated. The Padapada is Halantyam. Anuvrtahi is Upadeshe it. As you may guess, this is 133. And actually, as I mentioned in our earlier discussion of this topic back in Ashtadhyayi number 31, which has some details I won't reiterate here, an intriguing thing is that this sutra, Halantyam, which of course is completely uninterpretable by itself, is actually the very first sutra in Siddhanta Kaumudi. And I have more thoughts on this I will share, and not just this, but overall soon. And again, I do not in any way say that to diminish Siddhanta Kaumudi, which I hold in very high regard. At least for my purposes, it's the most useful commentary. So, Halantyam, Halantyam. Now there is an Anuvrtahi, as this is 133 in Ashtadhyayi. 132, which we have just done, is Upadeshe Janunasika it. Upadeshe Janunasika it. And this is Halantyam, Halantyam. So the Anuvrtahi to Halantyam is Upadeshe it. And the completed sutra would be Upadeshe Antyam Hal it. Upadeshe Antyam Hal it. Now, the straightforward, common sense, useful, productive way of understanding this is just that Halantyam, meaning a final hull, and as we know, hull is the pratyahara for all of the consonants. A final consonant in an upadesha gets the name it. A final consonant in an upadesha gets the name it. And obviously this is crucial for everything we've done since the very first sutra of the Akshara Samamnaya A-I-Un. A-I-Un. So thanks to Halantyam, the n, that's how the n gets it. It's like a just so story. The n gets its it by Halantyam because A-I-Un is an upadesha, and the n of A-I-Un is a final hull, so it gets the name it. As does the ch of ach once we actually launch into pratyahara. And of course, it's more fundamental than that because the definition for pratyahara presupposes the sanya it, right? Adirantyena saheta. Adirantyena saheta. The first along with the final it. It. So we have to already have defined it in order for any of those to work. So that's how we get A-I-Un, where we mean A-I-U, and ach, when we mean A-I-Un, we're looking on ouch. Now, a kind of interesting point to me, and this is again one of my commentaries, Upadeshe Kim. That's in order now. So we talked about one sort of definition, or maybe a commentary, whatever, on exactly what to call an Upadesha. Maybe a Vartika, some later grammarian Dhatu Sutragana Unadi Vakilinganu Shasanam Agama Pratyaya Deshaha Upadesha Prakirtitaha. However, there are more straightforward ways of thinking about it. And one of them is any word in normal use, in everyday language, is not an Upadesha. That's the other way of saying it. Any word in normal use is not what is being talked about in the grammar when we say Upadesha. And why does that matter? Well, there are words like Agnichit and Somasut. Agnichit, Somasut. These end with consonants. And we do not want them to get the name it and be deleted because that would be wrong. So that's the scoop on Upadeshe, Janunasika it, and Halantyam. So now we've got it, and we've got almost all we need. So we've got it, and now the next sutra, which is 139, and again, as I've begun to elaborate, we see that while Shastri's sutras for the operation of the grammar substantially interdigitate, I guess you could say, with Siddhanta Comedy, they're not identical. And so he has sorted out the sutras that we are going to need in the operation of the grammar until we get to some very specific places later on, so that we can integrate in our heads this machinery, these operations, which are what we need to do, drum roll, the Sandhi, Karaka, and Dhatu, which we will be doing. So the next sutra, 139, which is 62 in Siddhanta Comedy, Tasya Lopaha. Tasya Lopaha. So again, there's actually, for those, I'm trying to say this without comment, but because it's important. There are very important reasons that people now and in the past explore potential, if not practical, doubts about interpreting these things. So in the case of Halantyam, even Bhattoji Dikshita mentions this, although he pushes it aside. Halantyam could refer to the final of the final Akshara Samamnaya Sutra, which is Hal, which would be kind of useless because, as we know, we need to have Halantyam doing its job, which is in this case creating it, and for pratyaharas and so on. So there you have it. So here, Tasya Lopaha, for our purposes, pretty straightforward in the sense that it's not exactly anuvritti, but Tasya here refers to it, and it means that it is called Lopa. It is got the attribute Lopa, or and this is, I think I know I'm not the only one to say. The other way of saying it is Tasya is Shashti, so you could say in place of it, Lopa, which is not a bad way of saying it, that they both come out the same. That may be a little bit more intuitive when we get to the next bit. So now we have Upadeshe Janunasika it, Halantyam, Tasya Lopaha. We've got the it, and we've got the fact that it is Lopa. Then we get to the next, the last sutra in this sequence is one we've already done, 160, and that's 53 in Siddhanta Comedy, and that is Adarshanam Lopaha. adarshanam lopaha. Lopa is adarshanam, which means disappearance. Now, when I discussed this in the Ashtadhyayi number 31 video, we went through, I don't know, about half dozen ways of interpreting adarshanam, and I came up with the global translation, which is gone, gone, gone. Anyway, anyway you take it, hear it, see it, whatever, it's gone. So whatever gets the name Lopa is adarshanam and disappears, vanishes. Why is it necessary to have this category Lopa? Why not just say it is adarshanam? Well, it is not the only route to lopahood, and we will see that in other parts of the grammar. So where other entities get the attribute lopa, but are not it. So here we have the summary. Everything we need to know about it. So we have, as we've said, 132 Upadeshe Janunasika it, which is a little bit confusing because except for the slightly contrived nasal of lan, we don't really have any nasalized vowels because, and this is something that interests me a lot lately, somehow everybody forgot them. Okay, I'm going to come back to that for a second. And we have, so Upadeshe Janunasika it, which by itself is not a whole lot of help. Halantyam gives it muscle. The final hull in an Upadesha is it. And once it gets it, tasya lopaha. The it becomes lopa, and once it's lopa, adarshanam, it disappears. So now we know how the grammarian made un, ach, and so on. Yeah. So we will move on to the next sutra next time. Thanks.